Hi, Larry WD08KX. I thought some of you might enjoy a little blast from the past. Go back to 1969. I have this Radio Shack clearance flyer. And keep in mind, 1969 was the year that man first walked on the moon. And I was about 5 years old. Radio Shack, $1 million clearance, a clean sweep coast to coast in 450 Radio Shack stores because we introduced our new for 1970 line in 10 weeks. This is kind of before scanners took off. They had the patrolman radios where you'd manually tune to monitor your local police or fire emergency crews. And one of them covered the low band, VHF low band, 30 to 50 megacycles. It says MC megacycles, but it's called megahertz now. And this one covered the 147 to 175 megahertz VHF band. So let's see what's inside. Well, they were selling guitars and guitar amps in 1969, and several different microphones, and their lifetime tubes. They sold a lot of tubes. They even had tube testers. And stereo systems with cassette player. Several different models here, different types of stereos. And Radio Shack parts. They did have a lot of parts, including switches and potentiometers, vernier dials, and look at this, a DT, a double pull, double throw knife switch, which I happen to have one of those. And these were used back in the day with the flat 300 ohm twin lead, mainly to select TV1 or TV2, or to select one of two antennas for your TV. So these were used a lot for TV switching antennas. And here we have glass fiber optic light sensor kit. That's when fiber optic was kind of new, I guess. And several transistors, capacitors, various parts, transformers. And look at here, a miniature variable for transistor TRF circuits. I don't know if you can see that, but it has the little dial there. Well, here it is. I happen to have one of those from years back. Radio Shack sold these for many years. Just a little variable capacitor used in AM radio circuits and that to tune, like if you made a homemade transistor type radio or something. And cassette recorders, tape recorders, reel-to-reel and cassette tape. Cassette tape were fairly new back then. They were gradually replacing the reel-to-reel type recorders. Cassette tapes and reel-to-reel. Complete stereo music center. Look at these. And here we have something. Home office intercom system. I think I have one of those. Yes, here we go. This has different brand label on it, but it sure looks to me like they're made by the same manufacturer, huh? It's very similar anyhow. As you can tell, this paper is becoming very fragile over the years. It's really aged. TV antennas, they were big into TV antennas. Rotators. Actually, I did at one time. My folks had one like that one, and I did later. And I also had one of these. I think mine was, I think it was a CDE rotor. Then we have the project kits, which Radio Shack was always big into. And over time, I've built a lot of those. And you remember the motion sensors here, the photoelectric eye warning system for door entry. And more kits. And look at here, a black standard desk telephone. I think I have one of those here. How's that? This has been around in the family for years. Standard black telephone. Now on the same page, I noticed the photoelectric indoor light control for $4.95. Here's what they look like. Now these would control your an indoor lamp, and when it got dark, it would turn the light on for you. Good for if you're on vacation or that type of thing. And they had organs, keyboards, AM, FM, portable AM and FM radios and shortwave band radios. Here's the Jetstream AM and aircraft portable radio. This is the monitor version for the aircraft band. And of course the Weather Cube radios. They were very popular. I had one of those too. I don't know if I have that around anymore or not. I think I got rid of that years ago maybe. Auto radios, 8-track tape player, and the Patrolman VHF monitor receiver. Unlike a scanner, you'd have to dial this into the frequency you want to listen to, your local police department or whatever, and leave it set or retune it manually. And then we had the DX150, which was before the 160, of course. And look at here, you get a free matching speaker if you buy this radio. And the DX120 was out at this time also. And there are batteries, of course. Radio Shack sold a lot of these batteries. Battery chargers, multimeters, vacuum 2-volt meter, and here's a dynamic transistor checker. I think I have one of these. Here it is. That's what the dynamic transistor checker looks like. And this still works to this day. And do you remember the Battery of the Month Club cards from Radio Shack? I don't see any reference here. That must have came later after 1969. I don't see anything here about it, but I know in the 70s used to have a Battery of the Month Club card, and I think you could go in, if I remember correctly, once a month, and they'd stamp your card and you get one free battery. I think I usually always bought a 9-volt battery, or didn't buy it, but got a free 9-volt battery with my card every month, if I remember correctly. And then we come into the CB radios, the base station, and a mobile radio, field strength meter, some mobile antennas, base station antennas, and the desk microphone, and then the handheld radios, walkie-talkies. Now the TRC 25A looks like this. I have a couple of these, and that's kind of where I first got my start with radio, using CB walkie-talkies like this one. So this still works too, by the way, in good condition. And we have more stereo components. So as you can tell, in 1969, Radio Shack was pretty big into stereo high-fidelity equipment, turntables, and speakers for building your own speakers, speaker cabinets, or replacement of speakers, and the Nova headsets. And here's something I remember seeing. I always kind of wanted to try, but I've never tried one of these. I don't know how they really sounded. Be curious if any of you have ever used a speaker like this. Let me know what it was like. PA systems and replacement needles for stereo phonographs. Record changers. You can see the paper has been tearing apart on me here. And what else do we have? We have some stopwatches, various tools and hardware. And look at this, electronic bug killer, and some binoculars, and a listing of all the Radio Shack stores in every state. Closest store to me was about 50 miles away at the time in 1969 here. And that brings us to a close with a picture of a reel-to-reel recorder on the rear page of the flyer. So I hope you enjoyed that little blast from the past. And as always, I appreciate you watching my videos. I thank you very much. 7-3. So I hope you all